afternoon at 5:10, of course, it's Blue Peter with OTT performing live. That's after a new series of Newsround Extra. And this afternoon, Chris Rogers investigates child brides in India. "12 years old and getting married." The child brides of India. It's the day before a big wedding in the village of Buchanelli in southern India. Watching over the preparations, the bride-to-be. Bagyuma is just 12 years old. In a traditional ceremony, the women of the village grind the spice turmeric, which is then put on both the bride and the groom-to-be. As well as making the skin glow, the spice is believed to cleanse the soul. The idea of getting married so young seems to have been completely accepted by Bagyuma.
My family decided I should get married, so I'm happy.
But don't you feel you're missing out on anything?
Well, I won't be able to play games with other children, but I don't mind because the enjoying part of my life is over.
Bagyuma's husband will be 15-year-old Samuel. Often child brides have to marry grooms far older than him. His bride-to-be was chosen by his parents, and at first he had worries about the wedding.
When the marriage was arranged, I felt Bagyuma and I were both too young. I told my parents, but they disagreed, so we're going ahead.
It's traditional for the main celebrations to happen on the evening before the wedding. Bagyuma is sprinkled with rice to ward off evil spirits. The festivities go on well into the night. It's against the law in India for a girl to get married before she's 18. For a boy, it's 21. Bagyuma's wedding in the state of Andhra Pradesh is one of thousands of underage marriages that take place each year. Most happen deep in the Indian countryside. In these poor areas, women are often treated as second-class citizens, and girls are seen as a burden. A girl's parents usually have to pay the groom's family to take her. The older the girl, the more they pay, so they marry her off as young as possible. Sometimes desperately poor parents will even kill their baby if it's a girl. In some regions, it's so common that for every 5 boys, there are only 4 girls. At this wedding in the north of India, the bride and groom are no more than toddlers, too young to understand what's going on. After the ceremony, the little girl will go back to live with her own parents until she's at least 10 or 11. Although some weddings are stopped by the police, most still go ahead, in secret if need be. The government puts most of its efforts into trying to educate parents that marrying off children is wrong. "14-year-old Mogalama was married at 10 and now has 2 children. Wenela is 2 and Esther is 1. Like most child brides, Mogalama lives with her husband and his parents. Her mother-in-law looks after her children while she carries out almost all the daily chores. Mogul Emma was forced to give up school to get married, and she now feels completely trapped.
I'm learning sewing and trying to study a bit in the evenings when I finish my work. I see other children playing and going to school and feel I've really lost out. If I knew then what I know now, I'd never have got married.
I visited a very unusual school, the Pachasala, that's trying to give girls in the area an alternative. These girls would normally have been married by now, but they rebelled and resisted pressure from their parents and other relatives. It's a very unusual and brave thing to do. To avoid marriage, the girls had to leave home, so the school puts them up in a hostel. The project, which is supported by the British charity Christian Aid, aims to teach them practical skills so they can make a living if they want to. Several of the girls told me they faced abuse and beatings when they refused to get married.
My parents insisted that I marry, and when I said no, they threw me out of the house. I was very upset that the charity looked after me. None of my relatives will talk to me now, even my father and grandfather, though my mother has just started speaking to me again.
What advice would you give to a girl who is under pressure to get married now?
If a girl wants to get married, fine. But if not, she shouldn't have to. But it's very difficult because if there's no room at our hostel, she's nowhere to go. It takes great strength to resist.
For Baguma and Samuel, the day of the wedding has arrived. The wedding feast will take place at lunchtime before the ceremony. But the pressures of the big day have become too much for Baguma. Her grandmother tries to comfort her. Although no one will say exactly why she's upset, many child brides find it very difficult to come to terms with living away from their family. Child brides also have to get used to the idea of living with a boy or man they may never have even met before the wedding. Baguma's married life with Samuel is likely to be very traditional, with little say in what happens.
Once we're married, I won't allow her to go to school or to go out and play with her friends. Anyway, we'll soon have children, so she'll have to do all the housework. She'll also have to go out into the fields to earn money.
The girls from the Pachasala are on their way to a nearby village. They've heard that a friend of theirs has been pressured into getting married. "14-year-old Kavita used to go to their school, but left a few months ago. The group often go and give advice to young girls facing an arranged marriage. They discover that Kavita's wedding has been postponed for a while, so they wanted to come back to school in the meantime. So, Kavita, how do you feel the discussion's gone this afternoon? Do you feel any better?
Well, I'm trying not to think too much about the wedding for the time being. I'm really happy because I haven't seen my friends for months, since I haven't been going to school. But I'm not sure at the moment whether I'm going to be able to go back to school or not.
Kavita is under great pressure to stay at home. Her mother feels that when girls live away from home, they don't behave responsibly, so it's safer all round if they get married young.
These are not very nice times. It would be better if girls were older before they got married, but look at how they behave. They usually start having lots of boyfriends and end up leaving the village. Then we're left here to face all the criticism.
It's morning assembly the next day at the Pachasala. Among the regular pupils, there's an unexpected face. Kavita has taken the difficult decision to leave home and continue her education. The charity that runs the school, the Deccan Development Society, or DDS, is working hard to improve life for girls in India and make people realise that child marriages are unacceptable.
We are bringing this question out into open, and it's being debated. It was never debated before. Everybody thought this was a done thing and there was nothing to worry about it. So we see some kind of a light at the end of the tunnel, but I think it's a very long tunnel and the light is very distant.
Samuel and Bagyuma are just moments away from becoming husband and wife. In just a few minutes' time, the couple will set off to the church where they'll get married. For Bagyuma, it will mean effectively the end of her childhood. The number of child weddings in India is slowly going down. For Bagyuma, it's too late. But she hopes that her own children won't be as young when it's their turn to take their marriage vows.
Next Friday afternoon on Newsround Extra at 5 to 5, Julie will be chatting to children in Britain about racism. Now let's join Richard, Stuart, Katie and OTT for Blue Peter. On Blue Peter today, I'll be meeting one of Britain's youngest sporting champs.
There's live music from OTT performing their brand new single.
Plus, Connie and Bonnie have been finding out about an extraordinary super dog.
Hello!
Hello!
And here they are, OTT
Welcome!
are in the studio. And Glenn, it's your birthday. Happy birthday!
You got a kiss? Do I get a kiss?
I don't know, ask him.
What are you doing for your birthday?
For my birthday, I'm going to go to dinner with all the chaps here, and we're going to get some pizza.
Oh, nice.
Pizza, and
Nice.
then maybe go and have a couple of lime cordials after.
Yes.
That'll be good. Play a bit of table tennis.
Yeah, well.
When's that coming out?
It's coming out on Monday. It's called The Story of Love, and Monday, January 12th.
Are you in good voice?
You've got to get in good voice.
Well, before OTT's live performance, imagine taking on the combined might of tennis aces Greg Ruzetsky